Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into something pretty fundamental, I think. This dance between, failing and just throwing in the towel. Our goal here is to really try and grasp what it means to, truly lose, I guess.
Yeah.
And we're doing this based on one single, quite powerful little sentence we've been thinking about.
Yeah, and that sentence, it comes from Vietnamese, ban không thoa khi thua bai, ban chưa thoa khi thua.
Right. Which translates to, you don't lose when you fail, you only lose when you give up. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Almost obvious.
It does on the surface.
But what's really at the core of this, how can this idea actually change how you personally face challenges? Maybe in learning something new or just life stuff. Let's dive in.
Well, the first thing that jumps out, I think, is that really clear separation it makes between the act of failing and the decision to stop trying.
Yeah, exactly. Failure here is like an event, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even something you kind of expect if you're pushing yourself.
Something that just happens along the way. But giving up, that's framed very differently. It's presented as the conscious choice, the definitive end.
It makes me think of learning to ride a bike.
Yeah.
You're going to wobble. You'll probably fall off a few times.
Oh, definitely.
That's the failing part. But you haven't actually lost at bike riding until you decide, nope, I'm done. Putting this bike away forever.
Right. And the quote seems to imply that that moment, that decision, that's the actual point of, defeat, not the falling down itself.
So it's not the setback, it's the stopping.
And if you look at the bigger picture, this really puts the spotlight on resilience, doesn't it? How important it is.
Totally.
Because failure, if you let it, can be, a really powerful teacher. It gives you insights, things to adjust, ways to maybe try again, but differently.
But giving up just slams the door on all that potential learning.
Completely. The journey ends right there.
Yeah.
And maybe not because the goal was actually impossible, but just because, you stopped moving towards it.
So failure then becomes almost like data, information.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Data about what's not working, perhaps.
But giving up is like hitting delete on the whole data set. You just wipe it. No more information coming in.
So what's the takeaway there? It suggests that really every stumble, every mistake, it isn't a true loss in itself.
Right, unless you let it be the reason you quit.
Which brings up a point for, anyone listening. Have there been times when a setback felt like a full stop, like the end of the road?
I think we've all felt that.
Sure. But this quote sort of challenges that feeling, doesn't it? It suggests the real power to decide the outcome.
Well, it lies in how you respond to that setback.
It sounds like it's about reclaiming control, in a way. Failure can sometimes feel like something that just happens to you out of the blue.
External, almost.
Yeah, but choosing to give up, that's an internal decision. That's something you do. And that decision, according to this little piece of wisdom, is the actual moment of defeat.
Think about trying to learn a new language, maybe?
Oh yeah, good example. You're going to make tons of mistakes. Pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary. It's inevitable.
Constantly.
But each mistake, if you look at it right, can actually refine your understanding. It shows you where the gaps are. It's only when you decide, this is just too hard, I can't do it, that the learning actually stops dead.
You've quit the process.
Right. What's really compelling here is how this simple statement sort of reframes our whole idea of success.
How so?
Well, it implies success isn't about avoiding failure altogether. That's probably impossible for anything meaningful. Instead, success is often a path that's littered with failures.
Okay, right.
The real difference then isn't whether you fail or not, but whether you keep going despite those failures. It's the continued effort.
Persistence. So, okay, let's try and pull this together. Our deep dive into this short Vietnamese quote. It seems to boil down to a really vital distinction. Failure is like a temporary detour. It's part of the journey, maybe unavoidable, but giving up, choosing to quit, that's when the potential for any progress actually ends.
Yeah, the real loss isn't the fall itself. It's choosing to stay down, not getting back up.
So the core message is pretty powerful, isn't it? Experiencing failure doesn't automatically make you a loser. Doesn't mean you've lost.
Not at all. True defeat, true loss comes only from that conscious choice to just abandon the pursuit, walk away.
Okay, so maybe a final thought for you to chew on. Think back to a time you faced a pretty significant failure, something that really knocked you back. Did you give up? Or did you find some way, anyway, to keep going? And what happened in the end? How does this quote, you don't lose when you fail, you only lose when you give up, resonate with that experience looking back?
It's worth reflecting on, definitely. The power of just sticking with it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.